എല്ലാവർക്കും ഞങ്ങളുടെ പുതിയ വീഡിയോയിലേക്ക് സ്വാഗതം. വെൽക്കം ടു അവർ യൂട്യൂബ് ചാനൽ. പ്ലീസ് സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ആൻഡ് ഷെയർ ടു others, to your friends and valuable relatives. വെൽക്കം ടു അവർ ചാനൽ. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഈ വീഡിയോ കണ്ടിട്ട് താല്പര്യപ്പെടുകയാണെങ്കിൽ, ഇഷ്ടപ്പെടുകയാണെങ്കിൽ തീർച്ചയായും സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്യാനും ഒരു ലൈക്ക് തരാനും ഞങ്ങൾ നിങ്ങളോട് റിക്വസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നു. ഒപ്പം ബെൽ ബട്ടൺ പ്രസ് ചെയ്യാനും ഞങ്ങളുടെ ചെറിയ കൊച്ചു നല്ല അറിവ് കിട്ടുന്ന വീഡിയോകൾ ലഭിക്കാൻ ഉപകാരപ്പെടും. നമുക്ക് തുടങ്ങാം. ലെറ്റ്സ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട്. ഇന്നത്തെ വീഡിയോയിൽ ഞങ്ങൾ നിങ്ങളെ പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്നത് എവല്യൂഷൻ ഓഫ് കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേഷനും ദ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ഓഫ് ഇന്ത്യ, എലക്ഷൻസ് ഇൻ ഇന്ത്യ, ഈ 3 വിഭാഗങ്ങളെക്കുറിച്ചാണ്. കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേഷൻ്റെ ക്ലാസ്സാണ് ഇന്നത്തെ വീഡിയോയിൽ ഞങ്ങൾ ഏർപ്പെടുത്തിയിട്ടുള്ളത്. കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേഷൻ ചെയ്യാൻ നല്ലൊരു ഭാഷ വേണം. അത് മലയാളമാകട്ടെ, ഇംഗ്ലീഷുമാകട്ടെ, ഏതൊരു ഭാഷയ്ക്കും കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേഷൻ ചെയ്യാൻ കഴിയും. അതുകൊണ്ട് നമ്മൾ ഭാഷകൾ നല്ല രീതിയിൽ പഠിക്കാനും കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനും പഠിക്കണം. നമുക്ക് തുടങ്ങാം. തീം: എവല്യൂഷൻ ഓഫ് മാൻകൈൻഡ്, evolution of communication. Get ready. Lesson classes and objectives. Students will be able to understand the importance of communication, know how various means of communication have developed with time, learn the importance of effective communication. Taking off, learning it. Discuss the following questions. What do you do if you have to talk to your friend who stays far away from your place? Ask your parents how they communicated with their friends and loved ones who lived far away before the mobile phones were invented. What would the world be like if there were no means by which we would communicate with each other? How would we spend our time if there were no newspaper, radio, cable and satellite television? Today we are so used to all of the modern means of communication that we take things for granted. We forget there was a time when these things were not available to us. Let us go back in time and trace the development and technology of communication. Early methods of communication. In early times, when people had to send messages to far off places, they used to send smoke signals, especially in America, or beat drums, especially in Africa. Different methods of beating the drum signified different messages. People at the other end responded by beating their own drums. Thus, messages were conveyed to each other. Early methods of communication. Gradually, people learned to speak, read and write. Drawing or painting was the earliest form of writing. The early human beings drew pictures on the walls of the caves in which they lived. Colors were made by mixing the juice of berries, fruits or vegetables. However, this form of expressing ideas through drawings was easy for anyone to understand, but it took a great deal of time. Therefore, human beings simplified the pictures by using signs and symbols. In the beginning, people used A pictographic script to write messages. Pictographic script. Pictographic script used on the margin of a silo of Indus Valley civilization. Think and answer. What messages do these paintings convey? However, the problem of sending messages to distant places remained, since the transport system had not yet developed. Therefore, people trained pigeons to carry messages to different places. The pigeon post was one of the earliest methods of sending messages. Pigeons were trained to carry messages, especially for military purposes. People could now communicate with each other through signs, symbols, or pictographic script. Did you know the people of Mesopotamia were the first to introduce a system of writing? However, paper was invented several years later in China. Inventions in the field of communication. Various inventions in the 18th and 19th century revolutionized the world of communication. Printing press. It was Johann Gutenberg of Germany who invented the printing press. The first book to be printed was the Bible in 1455. The invention of the printing press introduced printed matter to the people. People then had access to books and other printed materials which were cheap and easily available. People can now read the newspaper daily and know what it is happening in their country and in the world. Newspapers are printed in several languages and continue to be an important means of communication all over the world even today. Let's discuss. Find out and write the names of 2 Indian newspapers published in English, any local languages. Telephone and telegraph. The invention of the telephone by Alexander Graham Bell became the easiest and quickest means of communicating with each other. Today, we can talk to anyone in the world at any time on the telephone. Mobile cell phones that are battery operated and small can be carried with us wherever we go. Famous in Alexander Graham Bell. The telegraph was another important means of sending urgent messages using electricity. Very short messages were sent by telegraphic means to reach its destination in a few hours. With the introduction of other fast messaging systems, the telegraph lost its importance. Radio and television. The radio was invented by Guglielmo Marconi, an Italian inventor, in 1895. The radio soon became an important instrument for spreading awareness and providing entertainment. Some of the advantages of the radio are here. The radio can be used in remote areas where newspapers are not available. It is cheap and easy available. It can reach out to both literates and illiterates. The pocket-sized transistor can be carried around with us, while the radio helped broadcast news and entertainment programs. The television made a greater breakthrough because it presented visual images too. People could see what they were hearing and therefore it had a greater impact. The television is one of the most powerful medium of communication because it connects us globally. Nowadays, almost every household has a television. The government realized its importance in educating and creating public awareness. Therefore, it installed television towers and television sets in remote villages. Computers and the internet. Computers provide all kinds of information based on the instructions or program. Initially, computers were large and bulky. Today, computers can be fitted onto a wristwatch. The need for a global internetwork led to the creation of the internet. The internet has made it possible for people to write and receive letters almost immediately from all over the world using the electronic mail or the email. Today, the internet service enables people to book their railway and air tickets and shop for gadgets, clothes and food online. Artificial satellites. Artificial satellites. Artificial satellites are now being used for long distance communication and have made it possible for us to view events as they happen in any part of the world. There are a number of artificial satellites that are orbiting the Earth. Satellite used for long distance communication. Did you know the first satellite television signal was relayed in 1962 from Europe to the Telstar satellite over North America? Other means of communication. A huge step in communication took place with the development of an organized postal system. It became an important service provided by the most governments to their people. Letters written on inland mail, aerogram or postcard we delivered to the mail addresses written on them. Fax is a system whereby the receiver receives a reproduced document immediately. The development of speed post and courier service have facilitated quicker and safer delivery of letters and parcels. Do and learn. Make a timeline chart of the evolution of communication to the present. Did you know? Letters, telegrams and telephones are means of communicating with individuals. Communication such as newspaper, radio and television which addresses a larger group are referred to as a mass media. The impact of modern means of communication. Modern means of communication have changed our lives completely. They have both negative and positive impacts on our lives. On the negative side, it has resulted in people of all ages spending more time in front of the television or working on the computers, roboting them of quality time with the family. On the positive side, modern communication has brought people closer. They have made people aware of what is going on in every part of the world. Today, people can raise their voice in protest to show support to victims of injustice. Modern communication has created the idea of one world. Vocabulary: artificial satellite, an object that is sent into space to travel around the earth in order to receive and send information. Conveyed: communicated ideas for feelings indirectly. Facilitated: made it possible or easier for something to happen. Responded: reacted to something by taking a particular course of action. Signified: the meaning or idea expressed by something. Visual: relating to things that one can see. Evolution of communication. Early means: smoke signals, drum beats, drawings or paintings, the pigeon post. Modern means: printing press, telephone and telegraph, radio and television, computers and internet, postal system, fax, speed post, courier and artificial satellites. Impacts: positive and negative. Life skills. Effective communication. Imagine you live in a prehistoric times. How would you express and communicate with the people around you? Remember, people at that time did not know how to speak, read or write. Next subject, theme: the Constitution of India. Basic features: the Constitution of India. Lesson objectives and classes. Students will be able to understand the need for framing the Constitution. Be familiar with the basic rights and duties provided by the Indian Constitution. Get a feeling of patriotism and nationhood. Develop a sense of pride towards the country. Understand the organs of the government. Taking off. Let us check the school almanac. Does it have information about your school? It says its history and philosophy, general rules, discipline, code, school song and the school prayer. According to the dictionary, Constitution is a system of benefits and laws by which a country, a state or an organization is governed. Let us learn about the Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution. The Constitution of India is the highest law in India. It lays down the powers and duties of government institutions. It also provides for fundamental rights and duties of the citizens. The Constitution was drafted by the Constituent Assembly, which consists of 389 members. It took almost 3 years to draft the Constitution. The Constituent Assembly was truly representative body and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was the chairman of the drafting committee. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. A meeting of the Constituent Assembly in 1950. The Indian Constitution is the longest written constitution in the world. The Indian Constitution came into effect on 26 January 1950. We celebrate this day every year as the Republic Day in our country. The Constitution is important in our history because when the Constitution came into effect, India became a sovereign and a democratic republic. The Preamble. The Constitution of India starts with a preamble. It goes as follows. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. Let us understand the preamble. Sovereign means that the country is not under the control of any foreign power. Socialist means that everyone has equal opportunities and in which the wealth of a nation is used for the welfare of society as a whole. Secular. India does not have a state religion. Every person of this any faith is free to practice his or her religion in the country. Democratic Republic. India is a democratic country. It is not ruled by a monarch but an elected head of state whom the people elect in India. The president is indirectly elected for a period of 5 years. Justice means that all people are treated fairly. Liberty means that people have the freedom on all activities, what they think, how they express themselves, what they believe, which religion they wish to practice, and so on. However, freedom has to be practiced without harming others. Equality means that all are equal before the law. No individual or section of the society enjoys special privileges or opportunities. Fraternity means that everyone lives with a feeling of friendship and trust. There is a sense of belonging with the country. Think and answer. Mention your favorite word in the preamble. Give reasons. Direct principles. The Constitution of India has laid down certain guidelines for the governing bodies on the basis of which they can frame laws and policies. These guidelines are called directive principles. Some of the direct principles are as follows. To provide an equal right to all citizens to work and earn their livelihood. To provide work for all. To provide free and compulsory education to all children up to 14 years of age. To provide equal wages for equal work. To protect the environment. To protect and preserve monuments, places, and things of historical importance. Do and learn. Compile a list of rights and duties that you have in school and home. Discuss the list in the class with your teacher's permission. Fundamental rights. When we live in a society, we must learn to live peacefully. We must respect each other. If each person does what he or she thinks is right, there would be chaos in the country. Therefore, the society has laid down certain rules which we have to follow. These rules are necessary to live peacefully. They tell us what is right and what is wrong. When the society accepts these rights are as essential, they become the basis of rights. We must remember that what is right for one is equally right for another person. Therefore, when we exercise our rights, we must be careful that we do not violate another person's rights. The Indian Constitution has put down certain rights for all citizens. These are known as fundamental rights because they are considered as basic rights for people to live in a society. They are right to equality. This means that every person is considered equal in the eyes of the law. There can be no discrimination based on caste, creed, or religion. Right to freedom. In democratic country like India, the right to freedom of speech and expression is very important. This freedom allows its citizens to practice any profession, participate in any political movement, and to move around freely in the country. Right against exploitation. The Constitution has declared that no one can force anyone to work for less or without payment. Employing children, buying and selling of human beings are also illegal. This fundamental right also makes it illegal for someone who does these activities. Right to freedom of religion. The Constitution declares India to be a secular state. It means that India does not have a state religion. Every person has the right and freedom to practice any religion of his or her choice. Cultural and educational rights. The right to education is an important right given to all Indian citizens. The Constitution has provided for minorities to establish and maintain their own education institutions. Government schools are responsible for providing free and compulsory education to all children up to the age of 14 years. Right to constitutional remedies. If any citizen feels that his or her constitutional rights are being violated, he or she can seek justice from the courts. This right ensures that the citizens' fundamental rights are protected. Discuss what do these two signify. Know your rights. Think and answer and learn. Which type of government would not allow its people to enjoy human rights? Fundamental duties. Rights always come with duties. Rights and duties are interlinked. We cannot enjoy rights without fulfilling our duties. To be good citizens of our country, we must not only enjoy our rights but also do our duties. The Constitution has laid down through the directive principles certain fundamental duties for all its citizens. Some of the fundamental duties are: we must abide by the Constitution. We must respect our national flag and the national anthem. We must promote harmony amongst all people of India. We must value and preserve our rich heritage. We must protect and improve our national environment. We must safeguard public property. Do and learn. Use the internet or reference books to collect more information about the fundamental rights and duties. With your teacher's permission, conduct a class discussion on the same. Basic features of the democratic form of the government. The three organs of the government are the executive, legislature, and judiciary. These three organs derive their power from the Constitution. However, the Constitution has provided for separation of powers. Executive. The President, the Prime Minister, and the Council of Ministers from the executive branch of the government. Legislature. India has a bicameral legislature. This means that there are two houses of parliament at the center. They are the Rajya Sabha or the Council of States and the Lok Sabha or the House of People. Judiciary. India has an independent judiciary. The judiciary acts as a guardian of the rights and liberties of the citizens. The highest court of law is the Supreme Court, which is located in Delhi. The largest and highest authority in the Supreme Court is the Chief Justice. Every state has a High Court with the Chief Justice as its head. The Supreme Court of India. Discuss. Why is an independent judiciary important? The Indian Constitution is a federal system with a unitary bias. It is a union of states. It has 28 states and 9 territories. Union territories. Power is divided between the center and the states. However, during emergency, all powers are with the center. The government at the center, which is located in Delhi, known as the Union Government. Thus, the Constitution lays down the rules and the government executes it. As citizens of India, it is our moral obligation to fulfill our duties towards their other citizens and towards our country. Do and learn. Discuss the hierarchical structure present in your classes and compare the same with the structure of the government of India. Vocabulary. Abide, accept and act according to the rule. Creed, a set of religious beliefs. Discrimination, unfair treatment of someone because of their religion or other personal features. Draft, to write something such as a legal document, speech or letter that may have changes made to it before it is finished. Preamble, an introduction to a document or report explaining its purpose. The Constitution of India. Basic features of the government. The preamble. Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. Directive principles. Fundamental rights. Right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and education rights, right to constitutional remedies. Fundamental duties. Abide by the Constitution, respect our national flag and national anthem, promote harmony amongst all of the people, value and preserve our rich heritage, protect and improve our natural environment, safeguard public property. Evaluation. Why is the 26th January an important date in the history of India? What does the preamble to the Constitution declare? Life skills, communication skills. Hold a debate on whether it was necessary for the Constitution. Make us to put down fundamental rights into the Constitution. Why do we need fundamental rights? What are the fundamental duties? Mention any two fundamental duties. Name the three organs of the government. ഈ വീഡിയോ കണ്ടിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇഷ്ടപ്പെടുകയാണെങ്കിൽ തീർച്ചയായും സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്യാനും ഒരു ലൈക്ക് തരാനും നിങ്ങളോട് റിക്വസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നു.